I'm also involved with the Historical Radio Society of Australia, which has about 8 branches across Australia, one in Adelaide, and they do put out a monthly magazine, which is a fantastic glossy magazine. It has articles about radios and historical things and
Can I have a look while you're chatting about
yellow
this?
pages and sell
There
and
it is.
swap and all sorts of things. So that's a useful thing. And the Adelaide Club meets once a month and goes out on some trips and visits to individuals' homes and things. On the table, I've just brought a couple of things, some early microphones and a static microphone from America.
Yes,
I can hold it if you want.
okay,
Which is a crystal microphone.
yeah.
And that's 1938, I think I looked up.
So this is for those who are listening. It's a rounded with that microphone.
Lots of
thatch on the
chrome.
front. Lots of chrome.
Yes, lots of chrome. It is rather heavy.
It's not lightweight,
Wow.
but that's a part of the stand.
Yes, the stand is quite heavy.
Was used in two-way radio and early radio broadcast. There's another heavier, larger microphone I got on the table, an American Amperite, which is a ribbon microphone. The element is a ribbon.
Okay.
That's around the same time, 1938. On the table, I've also got a Morse code key, which only came into my collection a year or so ago. But the key point, Morse code was used for communication prior to telephone and all sorts of things. But the interesting thing about that is it's branded Clipsal, and people are very familiar with Clipsal being an Adelaide brand, Gerard Industries, and that's 1944, which Morse code was used before that, I reckon, but it was used through the war, but not particularly rare or expensive or anything.
SOS.
But there's not too many floating around still.
No, and there's not too many, unfortunately, there's not too many Morse code operators that were trained during the army that are still around, although I have met some.
Okay.
There's a ferry turntable arm, which is for a record player.
Yeah, okay.
The record player is a bigger thing.
Yeah, so
it's black.
It's those big CDs there.
definitely 78 records, big Bakelite type records.
Yeah.
And a motor that was used in the record players.
Right.
Something else I'm actively involved with is an international website called radiomuseum.org.
Okay.
No AU on the end because it's international.
It's international.
So that's, I think it was established out of Sweden.
It's on the screen right now for people who are watching on television or
So
online.
radiomuseum.org.
.org. I have all of my 725 items listed on that.
So this is a catalogue of your whole museum.
So my 725, but I think there's, I don't know how many items there are listed on the site, but it's international.
Okay.
And there's contributors all over the world to it. It was established out of Sweden, I think. Mm-hmm. But that's a massive collection of information on anything to do with radio and audio recording equipment, and has been very useful for me to create a website style. You can actually search under what I have in my collection, including a picture and sometimes circuit diagrams and manuals and photos. It's very good for identifying things. I do get a lot of people contact me and say, I've got this radio, I don't know much about it, there's nothing printed on the back, and identifying is half the work. In some cases, some people have got things that don't work either, and there's members in the Historical Radio Society who do repair things and refurbish things. We get things come out of, sheds on farms that have been buried away for a long time.
Yeah,
I've got some, in the collection, I've got some Traeger transceivers, which were a two-way radio, early telephone type thing that was used to farming properties. And Alf Traeger was another Adelaide person who developed the pedal radio for the Flying Doctor.
Yes.
So I've got some of, not the pedal radios, but some of the later ones that were used in farms. And sometimes with School of the Air they were used.
Yes, I remember going to School of the Air Museum and sitting on one of them and pedaling and talking.
So there's a whole variety of different things in the collection, and I'm involved in quite a few different things. I also get people come to me with often reel-to-reel tapes, or I've even had someone come to me with a spool of wire from a wire recorder and say, this was in my father's collection, I don't know what's on it. And I have got machines that can be played on, but the State Library has an audio division with a chap, Peter, that works in there that is actively involved in recovering audio and digitally archiving. The Historical Radio Society I mentioned, they have a national website, and the South Australian Club has a website, and one of the tabs on our website is an oral history page, and there's 10 recordings on that page that can be listened to online that were recorded by the Institute of Radio Engineers in the 80s, including a 37-minute interview with my father about the whole Jack Ferry background and things. And that's part of I can't remember the name of it now, but it's part of a collection from the State Library that they manage or own, and we were able to get copies of all 10 recordings and make them available for people to listen to via our website.
So what about you growing up? You shared about people at the library and they bring their grandchildren in and they're saying, oh, I used to sit around and listen in this radio, or used to have this recorder. What about if you were to take your grandchildren into the library and see all of that there? What would you point out and share a story about that you could share now?
So another group my father was in the days of tape recording, there was an organisation called the Australian Tape Recordists Association, and they used to have monthly meetings, and Jack Ferry and different people were key speakers, and they'd do Q&A panels and all these. So I remember as a child going into some of those and seeing typically portable cassette recorders and microphones slung over chairs, and all sorts of things happening. And I do have some of those recordings, actually. I do have recordings of Jack Ferry talking about different radios and recorders and in Q&A sessions, and even he was involved with UFOs, and there were groups across the world, meeting and talking about UFOs, and he became a contact person in Australia because of his audio background and the ability to record things and play things back and all those sort of things. And so that was my memories of as a 8, 9, 10-year-old being in meetings. And in my father's book there's some photos of some of those meetings, and there's one photo in the book that I only picked 5 or 6 years ago, that in the front row there's a lady sitting that was my mother.
Aww.
Before I was born.
Before you were born. Okay.
And I've heard an audio recording of my father talking before I was born as well, which is quite surreal.
Wow. That would be really special to have.
Thank you for watching this short clip of Life Bursts. You can like, subscribe or follow for more, or head to rawcut.com.au.